All right, ladies, welcome to another self love conversation. My name is Gloria Ward, and I'm the founder of this amazing project, the I'm Loving Me Project, where we inspire you to love yourself. And what that means is making sure that you choose yourself first in the situations that you're in. And today we are talking to an amazing woman, Miss Jessi Wagner, who is a busy woman who is going to teach us how we can actually still live the life that we want, still be able to live our best life, even if we are busy. Jessi, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
Now, I want you to tell everybody all the stuff that you do because I was reading your bio and I was like, I don't know how you do it all.
Me neither. I really don't. So I have always been that way, though. I've always had, multiple jobs, multiple things going on. And my busy looks really different now than it used to be. And I've also learned how to prioritize myself. So that's what I love so much about being on here with you, because it is possible to, still be busy, but still prioritize yourself. And I think that that's so important. So I am an independent consultant and executive regional vice president with Arbonne. I used to be a mental health and drug and alcohol therapist before I left my career to pursue entrepreneurship full time. And knowing that I would never kind of be out of the mental health realm, I was so passionate about advocacy and social justice that I knew that by Arbonne allowing me to walk away, that more things would come for me. And that's exactly what happened. So my busy looks really different now. I also am a Reiki master. I am the creator of Mama Mantras, which is an affirmation deck of cards for moms. There is Mama Mantras for the mompreneur, and also mini mantras for our kiddos. And I'm actually in the very, very early stages of opening up my own wellness center. So that's the nutshell.
How do you do all of that? I'm listening to you talk and I'm saying to myself, I do a lot of stuff, but you sound like you are really, really, really busy. And
I also
knowing that
have
are you in the beginning stages of everything? Is that why you're so busy?
no.
Okay.
So no, I've been in Arbonne for 6.5 years. And so that I've built a pretty strong business. Not to say that I'm not still working that business every day too, but
Right.
that has definitely allowed me to focus my time on other things. Also being where I am there. I also have my husband, of course, and my 5-year-old and 2-year-old. So I have a 5-year-old daughter and a 2-year-old son. So that kind of also makes things a little bit busy.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna listen to you. How do we manage everything? Because let me tell you, as women, we natural, right? Where we can go pick up the kids, we can go cook dinner, help them with the homework, do all that stuff, right? And while we do all that stuff, sometimes we don't understand how fast we're working, what we're doing until we get exhausted. How do we control all of these things? How do we make it happen?
So first, I want to say that no matter what it is you're doing, understanding that it's never going to be perfect and kind of just accepting things for where they are. And I think that that has been the biggest thing for me, especially with the kids and just never knowing what my day to day is going to look like. I've always been really into personal development, but I've recognized that it used to look a lot more like beating myself up and hating myself and always trying to be better. And I thought that was like admirable, right? And then I realized that you can actually work on personal development and actually love yourself through it and encourage yourself and cheer yourself on and all those things. And so in that process, I've really learned a lot that it is impossible for me to do all of the things really well if I burn myself out. And it's impossible to, you have to understand that A, you need help, and B, that, to accept help, but B, that some things might have to suffer sometimes. And it's just accepting, the ebbs and flows of getting all your things done on your to-do list and sometimes not. And just that acceptance, I think, is one of the most important things there. did you want, I don't know if you wanted me to go through like those
No,
10 things or,
I'm
okay.
curious to know, you being a mom and everything, how do you spend time with the family and the kids? Like, how do you set up your day? Like, what are some of the things that you do where you can get, the family time, your time, husband time? Because he still wants you to be his girlfriend, right? And then you
Mm-hmm,
gotta, make sure the kids get their time because they
mm-hmm.
want you to be their mom. And then you need your time. How about girlfriend time? How about business time? So how do you put this all together?
So I have an awesome babysitter who comes to my house 2 to 3 days a week, just depending. And so I really try my best to do as much as I can while she's there and
Hmm.
really try to be doing business when I'm doing business and be doing family when I'm doing family. And it doesn't always work that way. It will never work that way, especially in the nature of my businesses. But um, that's something that I'm always striving for so that when it ends up falling a little bit short and being somewhere in between,
Hmm.
it all works out. I like to say work-life harmony instead of work-life balance, because I don't think we'll ever feel balance, but we can feel some kind of harmony, kind of weaving in and out of that. Um, and I try to just, remind myself and also my children, and they don't get it yet. My 5-year-old can sometimes, but there's obviously going to be times where she's like, "Oh, you're getting on another call," and I'm like, "Yeah, but I got to be with you all day today,"
Yeah.
and that is the beauty of owning your time as an entrepreneur, and that's what makes it worth it. Is that I love what I do, and
Yeah.
it's very different than when I was working 50 plus hours as a therapist and I was being pulled in a million directions under somebody else's terms. And
Mhm.
now I get to do that on my own. And so the amount of hours I work is so much less than, when I was working a full-time job. And it has to be because I'm home now. So it's really just a matter of being as intentional as possible. And again, giving yourself grace when it doesn't work so well.
Right. And how do you know when to shut down? Like when you say to yourself, okay, this is a little bit out of hand. Let me go ahead and just shut down. It's just not gonna get done. And let me go ahead and, do something else. How do you know when you are at that point? Is that the stressed out point? Or when you feel like, you're just not getting things done? How do you know when to cut it off?
I'm really glad you asked that because it's kind of been a very big epiphany of mine lately, because I used to turn it off at burnout. I really used to just like wear myself way too thin. And then what I've realized lately is I love everything that I do so much. So the
Mhm.
second it's not fun anymore is when I need to take a break. Because if I keep pushing and I keep forcing and I keep doing it in a way that I don't want to do, then A, my results are not as great. And B, I burn out. And so that's how I know as soon as it's not fun. Because there are things that, any business, no matter how much you love it, if it's your own business or whatever the case is, there are things that are hard to do. There's logistics and all the things
Right.
that you have to do. And that stuff isn't like, doesn't set my soul on fire, but it's still fun. It's still not miserable. And the second that I feel like stressed out, I know that like, and that of course sometimes I have to push through that if things need to happen, but I know that I have to take a break soon, and
Right.
I usually make that happen. And to help prolong that process of getting burnt out, I meditate every single morning. And I
Mhm.
think that is it's the number one best thing for me to keep going, because like the way that I see it is it's kind of like maintenance. It, it's People think like, oh, I'm getting stressed out, I better go meditate. But the thing is if you meditate regularly, you're kind of already at like a higher vibration. So when things come at you, you can handle them a little bit better.
Right.
And so I think that it's about being preventative. And again, a lot of those healthy habits that I talk about are preventative ways to, not burn out. Because what I try to tell myself is to act like someone who loves themselves. And this is what I teach other people, because sometimes we have to fake it a little bit. Sometimes
Correct.
we don't all the way love ourselves, but someone who loves themselves talks to themselves like they love themselves.
Mhm.
eats like they love themselves, moves their
Mhm.
body like like they love themselves, like all of these things that we do,
Jessie.
sometimes with the energy of hating yourself. Like sometimes it's the energy of like trying to change your body and your body not being good enough. But in reality, those same actions with the intentions of loving yourself
That's
are
right.
the best way to care for yourself and for
I
you to prevent that burnout.
I was telling the ladies last week, and for the longest time, like I got a blood clot in my leg. That's why I got my leg up here, right?
Oh my goodness.
And I was telling them that I was working. I was asking myself questions where I was like, am I working hard enough? Am I doing what I'm supposed to do? Am I being my best? And when I went to the doctor, and the doctor told me what it was, I wasn't upset. I wasn't afraid or anything like that. I had this thing where I said, I know I did this to myself because I wasn't loving that part of me at that time, because I kept constantly questioning myself. Are you good enough? Are you doing what you're supposed to do? Are you working hard? And the body is just going, going, going. And then all of a sudden, when things happen, I promise you, as soon as it happened, I said to myself, we're not going to get to this point again.
Yes, amen.
You know what I'm saying? Where
Sometimes
we
it
have
takes
to
that. Yeah.
physically have
Yeah.
something happen to us. But what I understand now, and that's why I asked the question about the shutdown, when you start to feel like those negative thoughts are creeping in, and when that critic starts to tell you things, it's time to shut down and it's time to
Yep.
reset,
Yep.
right?
100%. Yep, for sure.
Right. And I like what you said when you gave the tips. You was like, you got to be able to be, unapologetically surround yourself and position yourself with people who will push you and help you and keep you in that state of mind, because you are actually with your own thoughts, and
Hmm.
give yourself grace. That is something that I really love. Can you talk
Hmm.
about that whole thing of grace and gratitude?
Hmm. I think that it's in every single thing that we do, whether it's your business, whether it's your exercise plan, whether it's, you know, not yelling at your children or like
Right.
whatever it is, like we have to understand that we are all human. Like we were put on this earth to be humans, and we're never going to be perfect, and we're going to make mistakes. And again, it's that intention behind it. You can mess up or make a mistake or do something that you wish you would have done, or you know cheat or whatever on your, I don't like that word, but that's what
Hmm.
people like to say that. And then you have to take the same actions next. You can either choose to get back on track and beat yourself up for it and yell at yourself for it, or you can choose to get back on track and say, what happens, I'm going to move
Amen.
forward, I'm going to come back from this. And
Hmm.
so it's always just that intention. And yeah, like giving, and you're just gonna, if you keep beating yourself up, you're gonna keep going back down to where you were, and it's
Knowing
so much
that
harder
you're
to come
not
out
the
from that.
victim, right? Knowing
Yep.
that you're not the victim. Everything that is happening to you is what you're vibrating and what you're creating. And you know what's so crazy, Jessie, when you think about that, it's like when you know it and it happens, you can't say anything.
Yeah.
It's
Yep.
like you
Yep.
you no longer
Yep.
could
You
blame
knew it. Yep.
anybody,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
because you're
Yeah.
saying to yourself, uh-oh, something is out of balance.
Yeah.
Something is not right, right?
Hmm.
So we know what to do and how to do. It's about not getting caught up in that whole rigmarole and all that stuff or
Hmm.
whatever. So
Hmm.
let us know about this. Is it Reiki? I can never pronounce it right.
Reiki.
Reiki,
Reiki.
Reiki. Can you tell us
Reiki.
what that is and how it works? Because I'm so
Yes.
interested.
Yes, absolutely. So Reiki is energy healing,
Mhm.
basically, is, and that's all that it is really. And so what the most amazing part about it is that it can be done from a distance. So I could give you Reiki right this second, which is the coolest thing ever.
That's awesome.
Um, I prefer to do it in person because I just think it's a better experience. But it's just a better experience because of the atmosphere, but the healing is just as effective either way. And so the idea is that we all have these energy channels. And so
Mhm.
everyone is actually capable of doing Reiki, which is also incredible. But when you go through the attunement process to become a Reiki master, to be able to teach Reiki or to do Reiki, it kind of clears those energy paths so that I can channel universal life force energy essentially through me to you.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. And I'm also saying to myself that the whole meditation portion is just so important, especially when you're busy and you're, moving around, because it does give you that clarity and it does give you
Mhm.
that peace. So how do we find you, Jessie? Like what are the things that we can do to connect with you?
So I'm on Instagram and Facebook, all on Jessi Wagner, Jessi_Wagner_. That is on Instagram and Clubhouse. Just Jessi Wagner on Facebook. My Mama Mantra pages is on there as well. And you can find me on my website, which is still a little bit in the process, but also newly done. So I would love for you to check it out. And that is just jessiwagner.com, JESSI Wagner, WAGNER.com.
Thank you so much for being here, Jessie. And I'll say to you ladies, go to our blog, imlovingme.net/blog, to look at her 10 healthy habits for busy women. So you can actually see with your own eyes all of the tips that she have if you're trying to figure out how to balance it all. So Jessie, you're in Pittsburgh.
Yes,
I will
Marysville.
definitely see you in September if you're coming out.
Yes, I will be there. I'm already registered for
Oh man,
table,
I
and
can't
yes,
wait. I
yep, I'm going
can't
to be doing
wait.
Reiki there actually, so that'll be fun.
I want to be one of the people that get centered and have the energy healing before I go out. So I
That will be
definitely
amazing.
gonna find you. Okay.
Perfect. All
All
right.
right. You
I'll
have a
talk
good
to you so
evening.
soon. Thank
All
you.
right.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.